feel a presence. Is it over there? Over there? Behind me? You guys see it? I don't know. Under the table? I don't know, but it could be around here. I just feel it. Or they felt it. Who? Well, we'll find out. Starting with the IMDb plot here. A family becomes convinced they are not alone after moving into their new home in the suburbs. All right. Another movie, moving into a new home and things go bad. All right. Have we seen this before? Maybe, maybe not. Certainly a new technique here, or try to do something different here. So yeah, Presence is a new movie, recently released. Seems to have gotten some decent reviews, decent talk. Definitely there was some mystery behind it when they presented this and started releasing some of the posters and so forth for it. You know, what is exactly happening here. And so, you know, I guess there was a little bit of a buzz for it. But, you know, did it end up, you know, really being a thing or not? I guess, you know, I'm going to dive into this in a second. But I guess, you know, I don't know if I should talk about what's going on okay, so in being a new movie, you know, I don't know, you know, that this is spoiling. I guess not knowing 100% and going into it, I really didn't pay, you know, I didn't pay so much attention that I knew totally what was going to happen as we kind of went into this. But after the movie kind of starts, you kind of gather what's going to happen. So I don't think it's spoiling anything by saying, obviously, the movie is taken from the perspective of this presence that's in the house, this ghost, spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's the perspective of the movie, and that's what we get here. So, you know, I don't, you know, I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end of the movie. Leave that for you guys to see. I don't necessarily think that there's any huge twist or turn here. I think, you know, it might have an ending that you didn't totally expect. You know, so we'll give it, you know, and I'll mention, you know, get into the end in a little bit. But, you know, so I don't think there's any huge twist or turn here with that. So, you know, I guess there's not a whole lot to spoil. But, you know, to kind of start off before what happens here, we'll talk about, you know, kind of, you know, what is happening here, you know, story-wise versus what is happening. So what is happening is early on you see an event that happens in the house, and that's kind of where you pick up that there's a presence in this house. There's, like I said, a ghost or a spirit or so forth. And you know, from that beginning scene, even as the family comes to try to look at the house, the whole movie is basically shot from the presence point of view, from the ghost point of view. And I'm just gonna, I guess, refer to it as ghost, just to keep it clear and so forth. So, the ghost is there. You know, nobody really, you know, can see it and so forth. But the movie is basically shot from that point of view. Going up and down the stairs, going around the house, you know, you're kind of floating around. You are the ghost. You are seeing everything through the eyes of the ghost here. And, you know, I can credit them for trying this technique and trying to try something different. And often, you know, as horror fans, and at least for me, you know, I don't mind them trying something new. I want something new. As someone who comes out and complains all the time about these remakes and reboots and all this nonsense, you know, when they try something new, whether it works or it doesn't, you know, I you know, can credit them for that, and applaud them for that. So them trying to do this, you know, I'm all for it. At the end of the day, did it work? Did it not? You know, I'm not so certain. I guess, you know, some people really liked it. To me, it just, you know, you kind of view it different because you know what you're seeing or who you're seeing it through. But to me, it just ended up being almost a found footage film, you know, all over. Except, in those movies, you actually see the person carrying the camera, dropping the camera, or the camera's all going crazy because they're running or they tripped and they fall and all those kind of things. And here, you don't really get that because it's not really a camera, even though they're obviously filming the movie. But it's not supposed to be that it's a camera. It's supposed to be that it is a basically a ghost that's watching everything, and its movements are its reactions to things and what's going on, and its movements around the house and who it's listening to, and so. But from a viewing it standpoint, it just seemed like we were in another found footage, movie. Obviously, the way they shot it was kind of interesting. It kind of the way you saw everything, and just the camera, I guess, that they used. I didn't do any extra research. I don't know exactly what they did to film the movie, but it just seemed like a I don't know. It did give a different view to the movie, I guess, or just the seeing it. But at the end of the day, it was just that. It's just like if the cameraman is just filming or whatever. So I guess there is, while you're attempting to do something different, there's just that familiar feel that you're in a found footage kind of movie, sort of. Obviously the characters aren't acknowledging it's there, so that's different too. Obviously in a found footage, you're acknowledging the cameraman for the most part. It depends, on the theme of the movie or, what is happening. But for the most part, you're acknowledging that there's a camera there, and here there's no acknowledgement because there's not supposed to be anybody there. So you have that. Did it work 100%? Maybe for some, maybe not for others. For me, I was like 50-50. Again, credit them for what they did. But at the end of the day, when you kind of step back, was it totally different, or was it just another found footage movie? I guess that's for you guys to decide and how you took that. As far as the movie itself, again, like I said, you have this family move into the house. They really have no idea that something's gone wrong. You have a mother, father, and two, older teens, or young adults, whatever you want to call it. I think they were still in high school. So you have the brother here. He's, brought home a friend who's really the cool guy in school, and he doesn't really want his sister to embarrass him. They get off to a little bit of a rocky start, but at the end of the day, the friend, kind of likes the sister, and, they kind of start hooking up. So you have that. And this sister kind of comes with her own baggage, and then, that's kind of, what you assume is the pushing force here behind the ghost that's in the house, that she had this friend, and her friend died at some traumatic event, and, she's kind of still feels that, and feels that has strong feelings from that incident and from her friend dying and so forth. So that kind of, even though, she's, trying to put a good face to it and whatever, and, obviously now has this boyfriend, whatever you want to call him, she's trying to get away from that. But at first she's the only one, she is kind of torn a little bit at the beginning, early on, between, those feelings of struggling with what happened with, maybe there is something in the house. Maybe it's her friend. Maybe it's something just following her. So, it slowly kind of starts that, and it starts with her. And, she kind of has those feelings. And, then we kind of have what you would kind of expect in a ghost movie or a haunting type movie where, maybe there's a little movement here, a little movement there. Really interesting scene, kind of basic, but still interesting enough, where she's taking a shower and obviously the ghost is not a creeper here. The ghost is not in the shower watching her take a shower. Some of you naughty people think, I'd be a ghost, I'd be in the shower watching her take whatever. The ghost is in her room, not creeping on her, but starts moving stuff around. There's some stuff on the bed, and the ghost is like, I'm going to be the maid ghost right now, and I'm going to start cleaning up. So start moving some books around, putting stuff back where it was, and then she comes out of the shower and she's just like, this is not how I left it when I went in the shower. What is happening here? So it's just a small thing. It was just, and it's also very weird because again, you're seeing it from the ghost point of view. So all of a sudden you're just seeing, some books that are stacked together just get up and kind of move. Again, I don't know how they did that. I don't know if they just green screened the person out, blurred the person out who's actually moving the books, or they did some other trick. But a little bit interesting there in that scene. But again, it also clearly gives the audience, hey, there's something here in case you missed it. Excuse me. So definitely things are going to pick up as the movie goes on. She's going to feel it. The rest of the family might not so as much feel that something's going on here until maybe much later on. But even that, is going to take something really dramatic. I think, to a certain point, she kind of feels that there is, that it's there. But again, there's no proof of that. And even when she kind of brings it to the table, the brother kind of goes off and it's like, hey, don't embarrass me in front of this guy. He's the, basically the cool kid in school and whatever. And, I want to be friends with him. I want to extend this friendship. And I want to be also cool in school. So, don't bring your weirdness to him and so forth. So, other things are going to happen, as far as the direction. I don't want to, like I said, not a huge twist and turn, but I don't want to give away what happens at the end. It is, to say, I guess, an interesting way they went, and while it, I know a lot of us do believe in ghosts, but, maybe not have any kind of experience, kind of like what happens here in this movie. So to, I guess, thread it kind of, gently, I guess, they tried to keep a kind of realistic situation as real as it could be, outside of the ghost. You're going to see something that happens and I don't know if I want to say frequently, but can happen, does happen, is again, I don't want to say normal, but it does happen. Unfortunately, it does happen. So it's a very real type situation that kind of occurs. And to, again, I'm trying to also be careful with a lot of things, what I say, and also with what happens here at the end. I guess you're going to see a situation that happens, more than we hope that happens. It should never happen, but it does happen, unfortunately. And then basically see what role the ghost has in it, and what the ghost is going to do, because the ghost sees all, and so forth. So kind of interesting in what the ghost does and how everything kind of plays out. There is a little bit of shock to what happens, and so forth. As far as that's concerned, I wasn't blown away by the story. I think the big, gimmick here, again, is having the ghost and from its perspective, and then everything else from that. It's not, a movie, you have a ghost in it, but it's not a huge haunting movie. It's not a huge jump scare movie. Obviously not a huge blood and guts movie. It's not really any of that. It is the gimmick of the movie is that we're filming from the ghost perspective. Everything besides that, is just a situation that the family is in, and you get a little bit of family drama, a little bit of whatever, and then some character drama, whatever, and then an unfortunate situation that comes and happens in the real world here, and then it's how the ghost reacts to that. So I guess I was a little bit disappointed. And obviously, the ending was, like I said, interesting how they concluded it. But I guess short of having, those things, having a big haunting or having blood or having some jump scares, it's just kind of absent of all that. It's kind of just like, I'm watching, a Lifetime movie being filmed, from being watched through the eyes of a ghost almost. And that's kind of what the feeling is. So I really wasn't blown away with anything in the story and what's going on. And, I wasn't really jumping in with any of the characters. Obviously, you feel bad for the girl because of what, the trauma of what she went through with her friend and so forth. And then, obviously, what is going to happen, later on. You obviously feel for her in that instance. But besides that, as a character and as everything that kind of happens before that, it's kind of like, not really feeling the family, and so forth. And, again, even with the times that the ghost makes its presence known and either shake stuff or bang stuff or move stuff, I mean, none of that is it might be a little bit frightening to the characters, but, they don't even overreact that much to it. Or in some of the other movies where you're like, oh my God, we're being haunted, and then you have a very strong reaction to that. Not even they really react to it. So, it really takes you away from some of that, stuff that you want to see. You want to either feel a jump scare or get scared by a jump scare or get scared by a haunting, or you're waiting for the ghost to show itself and it's some, really crazy creature or, freaky looking person or, something that's going to truly scare you, and it's just absent of all of that. And basically, I think I kind of like going with it. It is almost a Lifetime movie, and so forth. And, but then throw a ghost into it and what the ghost is going to do in the situation, to have an effect on what happens. So, interesting enough, I like I said, it seemed to get a lot of buzz and talk, and from what I see, a lot of people talk positive about it and so forth. Here on IMDb, just kind of have it here open, 6.7 out of 10 with, about 5,300, I guess, ratings or clicks here, whatever. I would say that might be a touch much. I could see, people like, what they tried to show in the movie, how they solved, the issue at the end. And, you can say that, maybe that's a little bit touching on, certain perspectives and, what they show and the unfortunates of this kind of thing happening and that kind of thing, or people crediting it again for the perspective of the ghost or whatever. Like, I can kind of see, certain things that people give the movie its props for. But I think at the end of the day, I kind of see it, okay, they did a gimmick, they did it all right. Almost like, I was kind of also thinking about it as in a Violent Nature, where that was a slasher movie, which they tried to do in a different way, and to me, that one seemed to go very directly in two ways. Either people really liked the movie, and that's why we're getting a part two, or other people just were like, I'm not sold on what they did here, and I don't like it. I didn't seem to gather that many people were down the middle with it. It seemed to be one of those. So, from what I gather, I see most people kind of liking this one. Where me, I think I'm on the other end of it. I do give them the props for trying to do something different, and what they did. But again, besides that angle, there's just nothing there for me. I'm not scared. I'm not jump scared. We don't get to see, the thing at the end, and just the whole story leading up to the, kind of dramatic ending, or however you want to describe the ending. Just getting there's just, nothing super horror for me in it, and nothing scaring me. There's no blood. There's just, just kind of watching a movie through a weird perspective. So with that, I think I'm just going to give this one 2 pools of blood. I just looking for, something more horror-ish for me. Obviously a bad situation and a true horror thing that happens in the real world, but, as a horror movie and, looking for a horror movie and from a horror fan perspective, it didn't give me enough. So with that, I think I'm going to give it 2 pools of blood. and that is out of 5. So, I guess I'm going to go into the lesser category here with this one. So, with that, horrorgory-reviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written in video. Certainly tons of video reviews here on YouTube, so please like, subscribe, and do everything that everybody else wants to do here on YouTube. But if not, no worries. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below, so feel free to join me there. Talk about this movie, other movies, horror in general, and definitely in the comment section if you disagree, you really liked the way they shot it and doing something different and everything that happened, feel free to throw that in the comment section. That is fine. I completely see it, but it just, not for me. So with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.